Hi guys, welcome to the second episode of my reading reviews this week. Today I'm going to be reviewing Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie Blake. Olivie Blake is an American writer. Many of her works usually revolve around themes like what it means to be human and the complexities of life. And before releasing Alone with You in the Ether, she released a more popular book called The Atlas Six, which brought more attention to this book. The genre of this book is a contemporary fiction, and contemporary fiction is a pretty broad genre for novels and stories set in the present day or recent past, focusing on modern themes and current cultural issues like deep human emotions, relationships, and societal changes. It can also blend with other genres, so this book would be technically called a contemporary romance. This book was intended for more mature audiences around the age of 18 and above, and with the deep and complex concepts in this book, I definitely agree with the maturity rating. Most people who read and review this book are in that age demographic and can relate to some of the concepts in this book, so I do believe Olivie Blake had a very good job at appealing to her certain target audience for this book. Alone with You in the Ether is about two people that are struggling with personal and mental issues, trying to find love together. We follow two main characters, Reagan and Aldo. Reagan is a docent in an art museum and graduated top of her class in art history studies. Aldo is a very intelligent math professor who studies about the world and time travel. They meet at Reagan's workplace and begin their story there. The book talks on many deep and mature themes like mental illness, emotional connections, sex, and more. Many books stray away from these kinds of concepts, but I think they're very important and should be recognized more. There are 7 different checkpoints throughout this book, which I think paces it pretty well. We start with a hypothesis, which gives us a quick rundown of before Reagan and Aldo meet. Then we go to part 1, which is befores, which is just them living their day-to-day lives before meeting. And by the end of this checkpoint, they have their very first encounter. Part 2 is conversations, which is, by the title says, is just them having conversations. Part 3 is keys. Part 4 is firsts. Part 5 is variables. And part 6 is turns. The titles gave me a lot of anticipation built up inside of me because the words are so vague, but once you start reading and getting into the book, you can tell they're kind of obvious on what'll kind of happen and go down, which I really liked a lot. When I first got this book, I was expecting a kind of soft and compelling love story, but I was proven wrong very quickly after reading this book. When I saw on the cover it said love story, of course I imagined it to be a kind of romance book with kind of a little bit of cheesy themes, but after doing more research, romance and love stories are two kind of completely different genres. Going into this book, I was not aware of many of the mature themes, but I do think it added a lot of depth to the book, which I really loved, even though I wasn't really expecting it. For my rating, I'd give this book a 4.3 out of 5 stars on the 5-star scale. I really enjoyed reading this, and despite being unaware of the different mature concepts in this book, I think it was really pleasant to read. Some of the things that I did not enjoy, I will talk about later, but overall this book was a really enjoyable experience. I learned so many new vocabulary words just from this one book. I enjoyed every single word that I learned. I was counting and I learned around 20 plus new words, which I think is amazing for myself and amazing for the goal of gaining more literary knowledge throughout this project, which I gave to myself before I started it. So I think it's a big success with reading this book. Now for my kind of final touches, they'll be put right here. For the plot, I gave the plot an 8 out of 10. The plot starts with them meeting and agreeing to have 6 conversations just to get to know each other. And I think that's kind of a really fun plot. But after they have those 6 conversations, the plot kind of fizzles out because there's no more conversations to go through. So the story just kind of walks along pretty easily. For the writing and vocabulary used, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Olivie Blake uses such a complex vocabulary in this book, and there are so many quotable lines that I think are very beautiful, which I really did love and enjoyed reading. For the detail, I gave it a 10 out of 10. This book has so much detail, I think there might be a little bit too much. Honestly, her detail is just so lovely. And I have seen a couple reviews say it may be a little bit unnecessary, but personally, I think the more detailed, the better the book is. For characters and development, I gave this a 6 out of 10, which is not very good. From the beginning, we are shown that Reagan is a very spontaneous and messy kind of person, while Aldo strives for consistency, which gives us our main conflict, which is Reagan's impulsivity versus Aldo's need for routine. What I did like with them was how different they are to most couples shown in literature. Reagan struggles with mood disorders and takes medication she believes kind of dulls her life, while Aldo, on the other hand, struggles with depression. I think it's a great way to represent these characters because in most popular media, it really isn't shown, but having that kind of representation can have other people relate to it and find the book more enjoyable and relatable. What I don't really like about the characters and the development, though, might be considered spoilers, so I'll give the warning here. What I'm about to talk about is and could be spoilers. Reagan in the beginning of the book is in a pretty toxic and manipulative relationship, which she doesn't seem to stray away from or even care about getting away from. This isn't technically what I don't like about this book, but her boyfriend seems to use Reagan's mood disorders as a way to manipulate her into staying, knowing that she full-heartedly will. I also talked about this briefly earlier, but she does kind of emotionally cheat on her boyfriend at the time with Aldo, because she had 6 very intimate conversations with him, and even if it is not physically cheating, it can definitely be perceived in a emotionally cheating kind of way. We also see some point in the book Reagan stops taking her medication, and during this time she does make a couple of pretty bad decisions, which some people seem to see as a kind of way to excuse your bad decisions because of your medication and if you don't take it, which I can see why it is shown that way, and I feel like Olivie Blake could have definitely written it better, but that's just how the book is. And also, by the end of this book, Reagan has minimal development, and Aldo just stays with her even after they broke up once in the story, which I feel like the ending could have been better if they stayed broken up. Now that the spoilers are done, I can continue talking about our ending, which I gave a 7 out of 10. I don't really think the ending is bad, but I feel like there could have been one detail that could have changed the trajectory a lot, but it still was not a horrible ending. It was still a pretty good, decent ending. For my favorite part of this, my favorite quote, I actually have 2 that I want to talk about. My first quote is on page 32. So on page 32, we have this quote from Aldo, a future version of Aldo. It says, "Your future self will always see what your present self is blind to." And I really like that quote just because of how true it is. I feel like your present self right now could be making decisions that you maybe don't see as right, but your future self will be beating you up for it and be like, "Why did you make those decisions? You were so blind." I mean, it doesn't just count to that kind of situation, but that quote is very relatable in a way. For the second quote, it is on page 111, and it's coming from Reagan. She says, "Ignorance really does seem to be bliss." And I really love it just because it is so true. Being ignorant on maybe problems you're having in your life and just ignoring them can really make all the stress go away. And it is bliss, even if it's not good kind of bliss. For my overall rating of this book and the experience I had with it, I gave it a 5 out of 5. And even though I did not give the book a 5 out of 5, the experience that I had overall with it is a 5 out of 5. I am constantly thinking about this book and I'm constantly talking about it. I really loved it. Even if I don't agree with some of the things that happened in this book, I do think the impact it had on me was a very much 5-star kind of experience. I don't really know if I'd recommend this book to anybody. It'd have to be a very specific person with a very specific taste. But nonetheless, this book was good and the experience I had was even better. So that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. I will be back tomorrow with my third book and my third review. I hope you stay to see that. Thank you so much for watching.